evening. My name is Kathy Sloan Beard, and I'm part of the Public Information Office and the coordinator of this program. I'd like to welcome you, all of our volunteers, their families, their friends. We have a real partnership going here. For about the past 13 years, we have been helping the Maryland You Are Beautiful select a special person from Howard County. And we send out our nomination forms in early April. And people have had lots of time to think of someone that they'd like to honor in some way. And we had a lot of nominations this year. We were really pleased to get so many wonderful nominations. It's nice to be in a room full of doers, and I know that you all are doers, and even a lot of the nominators are doers because they're involved with you in the different organizations that you work for. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the committee that's been working hard for several months to put this program together. I'm not sure if they're here, but if they are here and they'd like to stand up, we'd like to recognize them. First, Kathy Anderson works with Howard County General Hospital. She is in charge of the volunteer program. Thank you, Kathy. Rufus Clancy, who is the administrator with Howard County's Office of Human Rights. I know that Rufus is here. Millie Bailey, who was last year's Volunteer of the Year. Phyllis Greenbaum is not here tonight, but she's with Zip Publishing. And then we have Sharon Dehaney, who is the assistant to Councilman Gray. I don't think Sharon's here tonight, and Sandy Fairhurst, who's with the Columbia Volunteer Corps. So they've spent a lot of time working on this project, and I think have done a great job. And the last group that I'd like to thank, and I do this every year, is I'd like to thank all of the people who took the time to write a nomination. Florraine knows, and I know every year, that if it weren't for the folks who decide to put pen to paper and mention all of the wonderful things that they know about you, we wouldn't have this program, and we wouldn't go on to the Maryland You Are Beautiful program in Annapolis. So I'd like to thank you, and I'd also like to introduce the Reverend John Warren. John is from the St. John's United Methodist Presbyterian Church, and he's going to offer an invocation. Reverend Warren.
Thank you, Kathy. Let us pray. Gracious God, first of all, we thank you for this, the gift of another day that has been added to our lives, with all of the possibilities and challenges that each day brings, and for knowing that we're not alone in doing what you have given us to do. We thank you for the volunteers that we recognize today, and for the work that they do and they have done and that they are doing, for the time that they have spent, for the energy, for the gifts that they bring. We thank you for the programs that they have worked with, for our government, for this great county, Howard County, and the programs that we have in this county, and for the way in which the county is run. Help us, we pray thee, to remember that you are with us as we do your will and your work. All of this we ask in the name of Christ, our blessed Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Warren. Next, I'd like to introduce Andy Barth, who is going to be our MC again this year. Andy, we're going to have to nominate Andy himself one year. I was listening to his station this morning and the morning news early, and I listen usually before I come to work, and I understand that he's going to be volunteering his time again this Sunday at a Taste of Howard County that supports the hospice organization in Howard County. So he's a very busy person who gives generously of his time, and he very kindly offers to do this for us every year. So Andy.
Thank you very much. I don't for a minute mean to contradict my hostess, but I'm the one that should be thanking you, and I do, for letting me again share the good feelings and share in the good works that you all do. I'm grateful for the chance to come back for another year, and I volunteer for next year. Let's get right to this. I'd like first to introduce to you someone who I hope will be with us for many years. Our host, if you will. It gives me pleasure to bring to you Howard County Executive Jim Roby.
Thank you, Andy. I would have to echo what Kathy said earlier about what you do for Howard County. Andy and I go back a long way to a lifetime when I used to wear a uniform for a living, and we got to work together on some projects in his community, and he was always there. We're so fortunate to have someone like him, not just doing this tonight, but more importantly, living in Howard County, because he involves himself in our community and makes it a better place to live. I'm also pleased to have this opportunity to be here tonight to honor all of you. You do make a difference in the quality of life. We say that so many times, but we can never, ever say it enough. Whether you're helping out in our schools, serving as a scout leader, a police auxiliary, a volunteer firefighter, working on Meals for Wheels, we could go on and on and on. And in this job as county executive, I get to visit a lot of the departments, a lot of the organizations that make Howard County a very special place. And at the core of every one of these organizations is the volunteer who makes a difference. Johns Hopkins published a study a year ago, and they reported that in the state of Maryland alone, the number of volunteer hours donated by all the people involved is the equivalent of 80,000 full-time employees. 80,000. And there's no doubt in my mind, in looking out and reviewing some of the nominations for tonight's program, that you all contributed significantly to that number. It's just amazing. And I suspect there's probably not a one of you out there that say, hey, I do this for the recognition. I enjoy the pat on the back. I suspect if we ask you why you do it, you say, I do it because I care about my community, my fellow man, and I care about Howard County. But whether you want the pat on the back or not, we're here tonight to recognize you, because this is the least that we can do for you, considering all that you do for us. Congratulations to all of you tonight, and I look forward to presenting the awards to you. Thank you.
And next, representing the Howard County Council, it's a pleasure to present their chairperson, Dr. C. Vernon Gray.
Good evening, and thanks, Andy. And I do want to echo the remarks made by County Executive Roby concerning your participation in our events. And I do think, if I recall correctly, you did moderate at the installation of the County Council this past December. And of course, we want to thank you again for that. And to all the volunteers here and the relatives and others who have come to support you. Certainly, I'm pleased to be here on behalf of the Howard County Council. But for the past 24 years, Howard County government has officially honored volunteers, people like you who give so freely of their time to help others. Soon you have an opportunity to meet Florine Applefeld, director of the governor's program here, Maryland, You're Beautiful. Florine is quite a volunteer herself. She's been coordinating this volunteer recognition program for 13 years now. First for Governor Schaefer and now for Governor Glendening. And she does it as a volunteer, and she does a marvelous job. I'm sure that she will tell you about what volunteers are doing in Maryland and how they make a difference in Maryland. Since I was elected president of the National Association of Counties, I've had an opportunity to see the important contribution of volunteers in many counties across America. Just yesterday, some of you read this in the newspaper, there was a story about charitable giving in Maryland. They said that Maryland citizens are a little behind in donations of cash, but most of those surveyed indicated that they do give of their time. The work of volunteers is most visible perhaps in times of tragedy, as in North Carolina copes with floods left by Hurricane Floyd and the following rains. We've seen volunteers have flooded the state, and they have donated food and clothing and other supplies. In fact, last night there was an emotional story on television about volunteers who conducted a pet rescue mission in North Carolina. They searched filtered water, the streets and fields, and looking for lost animals. And certainly you can rest assured that their owners were very grateful once the animals were found. We saw similar outpouring of volunteers helping students who were shot at Columbine High School in April. In fact, I was just in Jefferson County last week. But too often today, contribution of volunteers are unrecognized. Here in Howard County, we have volunteer language interpreters for speakers of foreign language. We have volunteer mentors for young people who need guidance, counselors for abused children and battered women, people who collect and distribute food and fold clothing for the needy, others who sponsor immigrant families, and countless others who are doing what they can do to assist their community, to make it a better place. I'm always proud to represent Howard County wherever I go. While I've seen many wonderful contributions by volunteers throughout this country, no place is the spirit of giving and sharing, the generosity of spirit, and the breadth of talent more evident than here in Maryland and here in Howard County. Certainly, I'm delighted to be part of this celebration tonight and thank each of you for what you do to make Howard County a community, a place to live, a place for us to be proud of, a place to serve as well. As I looked at the program tonight, many of you heard the cliche. There are three kinds of people: those who watch things happen, those who make things happen, and those who ask what happened. So I'm very pleased to know that we have people in this room who make things happen. Congratulations to each of you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure also to recognize one of Dr. Gray's colleagues from the County Council, Councilman Gazzoni here. Guy. And now I'd like to introduce, representing the governor of our state, please welcome the director of the Maryland You Are Beautiful program, Lorraine Appelfeld.
Good evening. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate your nice introduction. And I have some thank yous. Before I even start, before I do anything formal, it's very important that I thank some great people. First of all, Kathy. Now, Kathy was married recently, and I did not know this until today. And I was reading over some notes, and I said to someone in my office, "You got the wrong person." She said, "No, I don't. That's Kathy Sloan. She's now Kathy Sloan Beer." So let's hear it for Kathy and a future that's beautiful, Kathy. And Jim Roby, when I was here last year, Jim was not the county exec. And I remember as I walked out saying to him, "You will be the county exec, and I know it." And he said, "Yeah, from your mouth to God's ears," and it worked. And I've known Vernon for a long time, too. Vernon and I have done projects together through MACO and the different organizations we belong to. And I don't know if you know what an honor it is to be the president of the national group that he is, but Vernon is outstanding. And I don't know our new young councilman, but I guess I will get to know. By next year, I'll have something to say, okay? At this point, I'd like to offer the governor's congratulations, not just to the people that have been nominated, but I would say from experience, after 13 years of Maryland You're Beautiful and 12 at the director of Baltimore's Best, this is my 25th year I'm celebrating. I don't know what I'm celebrating, but I'm celebrating. That there isn't a person in this room that hasn't done something that's volunteer effort. And that's what, as Vernon said, and as Jim said, that's what it's all about. That's what makes Maryland, in fact, not only great, but I don't know if you're aware of it, but Maryland's often called the volunteer state. And I say that with a tremendous sense of pride. I'd like to share something about how I feel personally if you'll bear with me. Several weeks ago, I celebrated a very serious holiday, a religious holiday in my religion, and it was the Day of Atonement. It was called Yom Kippur, and that's when the Jewish faith has an opportunity to atone for their sins, and that is the time when God makes the decision who will live and who will do whatever. So it's time to atone if you want to stay on this earth and have a good life. And as a result, people who believe fast for 24 hours. And I haven't figured out whether it's because I was fasting and I was lightheaded, but the Reverend sermon really got to me for one of the first times, because he was talking about reaching out and touching someone, reaching out and touching your neighbor, your friend, or your relative. And then he went on to say how many people do not know how to reach out and touch. They feel very much alone. And that's sad. And I think by volunteering in some way, no matter how small, you make a new friend. And the more you volunteer, the more friends that you have. Now, I don't know if you've looked at it this way, but it did get to me personally, and I felt we're all getting much more out of this than we're giving. So we have to feel very, very blessed that we have the opportunity to do something for someone else, I think. And of course, I take this very personally because for 25 years I've been a full-time professional volunteer by choice. And so I know how you all feel. And all I can say is I just hope the good Lord gives me many more years and gives you all many more years, because we are still needed. And as long as we're needed, we'll be here. I'd like to invite you at this point to the November 3rd event in Annapolis at St. John's College. Now, every nominee in every county is being honored like you are tonight. There are 23 counties and the city of Baltimore. And before I'm finished, I will have attended every event, maybe not exactly like this, because this is a very, very grand event with loads of people, but very similar and very meaningful. Then each group selects a representative, I call it, because there's no grand winner. This is a very democratic process. And that person will come to Annapolis on November 3rd and represent all the nominees in their county. But I'm inviting you all to come too. It's in the evening. It's 7 o'clock. You need a ticket, but it is free to the public. But you do need a ticket. And what I have done is I have brought along tickets tonight, hoping, since Howard County isn't that far away, that many of you will come and spend the evening. And if you come, the University of Maryland, College Park, puts together a full orchestra. Dorchester Chorus has 100 strong. That's really magnificent. And our own Miss Maryland, who just placed 3rd, which is in Miss America, I haven't met her yet, but I can hardly wait. So you'll see celebrities, and you'll see people entertaining, and it'll be just like going to a New York show, and it's all free, and we're honoring you. So I hope you join us. Please come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Florine. Now I think it's time to begin with the business of the evening, the recognition that we're all eager to pay here. Let's get started. All too often, the people who contribute the most to a community remain anonymous. Tonight, that's not the way it's going to be. Tonight, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to some of those folks, volunteers who reach out and improve the quality of life for so many here in Howard County. Now, for this recognition, we need help. I'm going to ask Jim and Vernon and Guy, Florine, to help in passing out the certificates as people come up. We're going to run through all of the groups and the individuals who have been nominated, and as a representative from each group is called, please come up, collect your award, and let us recognize you. I'll begin by reading the names of the community organizations we're here to honor, tell you why they've been nominated, and then ask their representatives to come down and accept the award. First is the African Art Museum Volunteer Corps. staffing the gallery, giving lectures, coordinating events and youth programming, all examples of how these volunteers help the museum grow and continue to serve the community. According to the museum director and the nominator, each and every volunteer is a treasure of the African Art Museum, because that's exactly what they are. Accepting on behalf of the treasures, Beatrice Montague. Here's a good point. I'd like to share with you what the certificates that we're handing out actually say. In honor of this year's group nomination as Howard County Volunteer Organization of the Year, in appreciation of the contributions it makes to our community, this certificate of recognition is hereby presented. One of these will go to each of the groups that we're speaking to. Our next group, the Career Center Volunteers, Howard High School. 10 dedicated volunteers donate countless hours to help keep the Career Center organized. They work one-on-one with students to make sure they fulfill community service graduation requirements, are reliable and full of enthusiasm. They're a pleasure to work with, says their nominator, representing Howard High School's Career Center, Barbara Heron. Next, the Elkridge Kiwanis Club. Their nominator says they are amazing the way they go from one project to another, raising funds at the 4th of July fireworks display, serving as role models for students at Seton Keogh, and delivering baskets to needy families at Thanksgiving and Christmas. Although this nominator knows they could be resting in shaded hammocks, sipping pina coladas, that is definitely not their style. Their energy and commitment is inspiring. Representing the Elkridge Kiwanis Club, Herman Preen, Marge Preen, Helen Boris, Norman Petticord, Judy Petticord, Ed Grimm, and Barbara Weatherholt. Next, we recognize the Howard County Master Gardeners. This year, the Master Gardeners are nominated for their work with the School and Streams, a Bay Conservation and Education program. Recently, it was incorporated into the 5th grade science curriculum. Because of the efforts of these 16 volunteers, many young people and adults have been given first-hand experience in the planting of stream buffers. The result, numerous areas of Howard County open space have been improved. Accepting on behalf of the Master Gardeners, Gordon Bishop, Virginia Bruce, Sally Byrne, Aileen Kovensky-Gard, Cheryl Gwynn, Cindy Hirschberg, April Obermeyer, Cheryl Riegel, and Leisha Utt. Next, the Auxiliary Officers, Howard County Police Department. This dedicated group makes a tremendous impact on the level of service that the police department is able to offer the citizens of Howard County. Each volunteer completes a stringent application process and completes 72 hours of intensive training, all before they are able to take over duties like directing traffic, supporting special events, and responding to motorists who need assistance. Officers and supervisors in the department all routinely comment, how did we ever get by without them? Let's invite down now the auxiliary officers of the Howard County Police Department. Next, we recognize Meals on Wheels volunteers of Howard County. You may be homebound or incapacitated in some way, unable to shop or prepare meals for yourself. Where do you turn? What do you do? Well, Meals on Wheels comes to the rescue. With over 200 volunteers to help, nutritious meals are delivered with a friendly smile and some much-needed conversation. Here representing these on-the-go volunteers, Dottie and Dean Smines, Lou Pontel, Stephanie and Jean Stern, and Hal Bleiweiss. Next, we recognize Senior Entertainment and Arts Ticketing Service. The acronym for this organization is SEATS. And that's exactly what they provide, free or reduced price seats to area arts events. They organize trips, arrange transportation, work in the box office, whatever it takes to get the job done. Their motto, see it, live it, love it. And in the process, they even raise money for charity. Here tonight on behalf of SEATS, Jackie Dunphy and Lillian Ross. Next, the Seroptimist International of Howard County. Chartered in 1954, this service club awards annual scholarships to high school students in recognition of outstanding citizenship and service to the community. They pack and distribute emergency medicine boxes and holiday food baskets and many other services. The list is long. This small but dedicated group is an inspiration, leading others to experience the dignity of service and the joy of achievement as they volunteer in Howard County. Accepting for the Seroptimists, Glenda Johnson, Martha Ferreira, Ann Ryder, who many of you know as one of the most dedicated people in the county, and Phyllis Parpinski. And now we move to the other category, the individuals who we are happy to honor tonight. First among the individuals, we recognize Audrey Adams. It is 9 a.m. on Thursday when a friendly and familiar face enters the door at Winter Growth. Audrey is enthusiastic and compassionate as she delivers snacks and helps with activities. She is a friend and inspiration to the entire staff, and the clients there, we are told, adore her. Thank you, Audrey. Next, Cindy Alt. Although many junior and cadet level Girl Scout troops tend to disband or shrink in size, Cindy's group is growing. Her secret? Make it fun and they will come. She's a wonderful role model to 18 young women, teaching them to become future community leaders and adult volunteers. Cindy also spends time working for 2 PTAs and is volunteer manager of the Harper's Choice swim team. Congratulations, Cindy. Next, Tom Auperly. It's Friday night. Where would you like to spend the evening? Well, Tom spends his volunteering at Howard County General Hospital's emergency room. Not the easiest time of the week to find willing volunteers. But Tom, we're told, is always there, ready to help, and with a friendly smile. Great job, Tom. Rebecca Brennan. Becca is the kind of volunteer every school in Howard County would love to have, but Dasher Green Elementary is the winner having her. She's a regular in the media center, helping to automate their circulation system, filing cards and books, and working with students. Becca also helps register kindergarten students and is an active PTA member. Let's welcome her, Becca Brennan. Next, Ed Davis. Ed is a clerical whiz and readily helps out wherever he's needed, and the list of those places is long. He volunteers with the county's Department of Citizen Services, Office on Aging, Children's Resource Center, Office of Human Rights, and even Police Department. Ed is a real team player who's happy to help, whatever the job might be. Let's give Ed a round of applause. Next, Debbie Harvey. Since completing her helpline training 2 years ago, Debbie has quickly become a veteran volunteer. She covers the helpline every Wednesday, helps with mailings and fundraising events. She even helped move the Safe House to a new location. When called on recently to train newcomers, Debbie was a ready and willing volunteer. Her experience was invaluable. Thanks for all you do, Debbie. We have an interpretation of the rules, and it is that anyone wishing to take a photo is welcome to do so. Applause is welcome. Anything is okay here. Next, Carmen Heil. For her devotion and hard work in making Howard County General's emergency room a cleaner and better place for patients, Carmen has been nominated by their staff. They refer to her as a real whirlwind, cleaning anything that doesn't move, and probably some things that do. All the while, she is pleasant, does special favors for patients, and volunteers overtime. The staff thinks she deserves a salary. Congratulations on a job well done, Carmen. Next, Dr. Alfredo Herrera. A pediatrician for 20 years, Dr. Herrera works tirelessly to make teens more aware about their responsibilities as licensed drivers and how to be safe. He helped create the You Are Responsible program presented at local high schools. He mentors high school students, is an active spokesman for organ and tissue donation, and every Wednesday afternoon opens his office doors for a free clinic for patients unable to pay for medical care. Thank you, Dr. Herrera. Barbara Heron. Barbara leads the dedicated group of volunteers we recognized earlier, the Career Center parents from Howard High School. She works closely with the school's guidance department to make sure the center is well organized and well staffed. The guidance counselors at Howard appreciate everything she does as the group coordinator. Let's invite Barbara back down to accept her very own certificate. Arlene King. Arlene has been an active volunteer at Mount DeSales Academy since 1989. As far as her daughter is concerned, she's the best. Each year, Arlene creates a new exhibit for the school, one that demonstrates the contributions Black Americans have made throughout history. Through her research and display, Arlene teaches students that it's possible to overcome obstacles and attain dreams by working hard. Well, we think Arlene's been working hard and deserves a little recognition. Congratulations, Arlene. Nancy Kipke. As a mother with a full-time career and 2 young sons, it's hard to imagine that Nancy has much time left over for volunteering. Still, she serves on the county's Child Care Advisory Committee, as tournament chairperson for the Ford Foundation, raises money for Special Olympics, and is an active PTA and church volunteer. And when your husband recognizes and appreciates all you do and nominates you himself, well, that's quite an honor all by itself. Nancy, please accept our thanks for making time to help. Barbara Langridge. As president of Centennial High School's PTSA last year, Barbara took on the challenge of redefining that group's role in the school and the community. Her list of accomplishments is noteworthy. Every year, new innovations are measured by how they would contribute to furthering connections between home and school. She even brought more than 200 parents and students together for a highly successful swing dance, which sounds like fun. We'd like to invite Barbara to swing her way down and back, having accepted this award. Joanne Link. When the Maryland Cooperative Extension Service was looking for volunteers to train as financial counselors, Joanne answered their call. Since then, she's worked with countless individuals in financial distress, helping them pay off bills, buy homes, and achieve some measure of security. She teaches college students about credit, about debt, and about personal finance. Although her schedule is hectic, she's always willing to offer her services to those in need. Howard County is lucky to have her. Now, let's thank Joanne Link. Genevieve McCardle. Wednesday evenings we'll find Genevieve lending Parent Support Group for Parents Anonymous, and she's been doing that for 13 years. She also volunteers at the Therapeutic and Recreational Riding Center, caring for horses and helping raise funds. This year she became a volunteer equestrian coach and chaperone for Special Olympics. Genevieve's husband wrote, "I'm proud to be married to such a caring, energetic woman who has made a difference in the lives of so many." Let's have a hand for this busy lady. Herbert Michael, Sr. Before he could volunteer for the police department's auxiliary officer program, Herb had to complete 64 hours of training. His total hours for the past year, 2,293, or 44 hours each week. Pretty amazing for an unpaid volunteer. He is a true gentleman who treats people with respect and compassion. His nominator says he is an inspiration to everyone and a model for even the sworn officers to aspire to. Ladies and gentlemen, Herb Michael, Sr. Fred Peters. Fred has worked with the Phoenix Project for over 7 years, helping to prepare more than 2,400 computers for schools in Baltimore City and throughout the state of Maryland. He's always ready and willing to be on hand when computers are being delivered. Congratulations, Fred Peters. Robert Scarberg. Bob just doesn't know what it is to be retired. He may be busier now than he was as a paid full-time employee. Nominated by the Maryland State Police for his work at the Waterloo Barracks, Bob assists with fingerprinting, statistical reports, he answers phones, and provides valuable safety information to the public. He started the Child Safety Fund, putting child safety seats in all county ambulances and some county and state police vehicles. Bob is sometimes referred to as the Teddy Bear Man, since the fund also covers the cost of teddy bears for children who experience trauma in their lives, thanks to one of the good guys, Robert Scarberg. David Michael Stevens. David is an empathetic young man whose volunteer efforts have touched the lives of so many, according to his nominator. He volunteered for the Department of Social Services in Baltimore, providing clerical support for their staff. He also taught computer skills to teenagers from foster homes. This summer, David volunteered in the physical therapy department at St. Agnes Hospital, helping to take care of patients. He also served as the manager for his high school football team and was a member of the National Honor Society. Very nice job, David. Ruth Taylor. Ruth has lots of fans at Howard County General Hospital, particularly in the patient billing and insurance office. 6 folks who work with her wrote kind words in support of her nomination. Always on time, stays late, she's an asset to our office. We can't imagine how we would manage without her, are just a few of the comments. Another wrote, every Monday and Wednesday, Ruth is like an Energizer bunny. She just goes on and on and on. Ruth, we hope you keep going on for a long time to come. Please congratulate Ruth Taylor. Laura Williams. The emergency room at Howard County General Hospital benefits from Laura's commitment to helping people. Every Saturday afternoon, Laura shows up. Her pleasant manner with patients is a tremendous help to the staff. During these high-volume hours when few people are willing to volunteer, Laura can be counted on to do the job. The staff in the ER thinks she is a real winner. Please join in saluting Laura Williams. Cassandra Wilson-Tillery. As a parent volunteer at Long Reach High School, Cassandra tackles her duties with enthusiasm and purpose. She is parent coordinator for the Guidance Resource Center, directs students in the use of computer technology, helps schedule college rep visits, provides financial aid information, and even provides coverage for the guidance secretary. Her greatest contribution, however, is the emotional support she gives freely to students and staff. Her nominator writes, she is a wonderful person who is trustworthy and conscientious in the performance of all her duties. Let's congratulate Cassandra Wilson-Tillery. And Nancy Yee. Nancy is a bundle of energy who just can't turn away when she sees someone in need of help. She has been volunteering at Vantage House Retirement Center for 7 years and has been an active PTA member and leader for more than 14. Her church, Columbia Presbyterian, has been blessed with her beautiful music and never-failing ability to get the job done. Recently, she came to the aid of an adopted grandmother with some physical limitations, helping her move from her home of many years. Nancy packed, unpacked, and took care of all the little things, as she has for many years. Many thanks, Nancy. before we move on to other recognition, I want to mention a couple of volunteers who were nominated but could not be here tonight. We should certainly be aware of the contributions of Jerry Foley, Mike Mongelli, Marlene Truesdell, Marit White, and volunteers from the Christian Services Incorporated. We'll make sure they receive their certificates. Now, before I announce the Howard County Volunteer of the Year in each category, I'd like to ask all of the volunteers that we've honored this evening to stand, take a well-deserved bow, and receive once more a round of applause for Howard County's unsung heroes. Thank you, one and all. Now it's time to recognize the community organization winner. They put miles on their odometers, they wear out tires, and go through plenty of oil changes. But these volunteers do it all willingly and with love. To the clients they serve, they offer a sense of independence and a chance for them to remain in their own homes. In addition to nutritious hot lunches and save-for-later dinners, smiles and friendly conversation are always on the menu. The volunteer visits also deliver a link to the community for those who are truly homebound. Last year alone, 200 Howard County volunteers drove over 75,000 miles, delivered 39,500 meals, and served 100 clients. Pretty amazing statistics, and it took only 7,000 hours to get that job done, only. These caring and generous volunteers truly make a difference, enhancing the quality of life for folks who truly appreciate their efforts and rely on their help. That's why it's my great pleasure to announce the Howard County Volunteer Organization of the Year is Meals on Wheels of Howard County. If any one of you volunteers would like to say something to the group, I know they'd be eager to hear from you.
I'm not a public speaker, but I'll try my best. I wish to thank Meals on Wheels, what they've done for me and how by me helping them, and everything that I can do to assist. We have a wonderful group. I hope we all stay together for a long time, and everyone should be well. Thank you.
We pause for a brief photo op. We now return to our regularly scheduled ceremony. As occasionally happens, this year the selection committee has decided to present a special award this evening. It is the Humanitarian Award, always dedicated to serving the community through health care. Personal tragedy turned this person's life in another direction. When his son, Christian, died in an automobile accident 4 years ago, he found he had an opportunity to give Christian's death meaning. With the help of the school system, the Department of Fire and Rescue Services, and the police department, he developed a seminar for high school students entitled, "You Are Responsible." And he didn't stop there. He became a leading crusader for and expert on the issue of teenage driving safety, successfully lobbying in Annapolis for the mandatory seatbelt law passed in 1997. He's also widely recognized for his efforts regarding organ and tissue donation and transplantation, working to educate the public on the issue and even translating donor awareness education materials from English to Spanish. As part of his efforts, he again successfully lobbied for passage of the William Amos Organ and Tissue Donation Act of 1998, which regulates organ and tissue donation in our state and encourages all Marylanders to become donors. He serves on the Transplant Resource Center of Maryland's Board of Trustees, is an advisor to Juvenile Services of Howard County, a mentor to high school students, and the list goes on. And if that's not enough, every Wednesday, as we mentioned, he opens his doors for a free clinic for patients unable to afford medical care. His nominator wrote, "He has made strong contributions to the lives of citizens in both Howard County and the state of Maryland." Ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of Howard County's Special Humanitarian Award, Dr. Alfredo Herrera. Would you like to say something, sir?
I'm not a public speaker either, so and whatever I have done in the last 5 years almost, it could not have been done without the full cooperation of all Howard Countyans, Howard County Police, Howard County Fire and Rescue, the officer of the administration here, teachers and parents. And so if you are recognizing me, I must recognize them. I must recognize them, because whatever it is I have accomplished, it could not have been done without the full support of everybody in our county. We should be very proud to live in Howard County and in Maryland, because we are ahead of most of the other states regarding safety for teenagers. Our laws and our regulations are saving lives, are saving the lives of a lot of our children. And that is only due to people like me, not only me, but a lot of us who work hard to try to avoid needlessly young people being killed on our roads. So when you go home, be careful driving. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now it is time to recognize the individual winner, and to present this award, we need help. So I'd like to ask if Millie Bailey, who won this award last year, would come forward for a moment and help us in presenting the award to this year's winner. It's time to recognize the individual has been chosen as Howard County's Volunteer of the Year. He may be officially retired, but you'd never know it by the schedule that he keeps. More than 40 volunteer hours each week. Whether he is cataloging books for the new Child Care Resource Library, updating the Senior Resource Directory for the Office on Aging, or providing much-needed clerical support for the Department of Citizen Services staff, he is dedicated to his task and gives 150%, according to one nominator. And if any other county office sends out a call for help, he's ready and willing to pitch in. He's worked on projects for the Police Department, Office of Human Rights, and Business Resource Center. 2 years ago, he decided to branch out and volunteered to help the Tourism Council at least one day a week. He helps with mailings, answers phones, and greets visitors to Ellicott City. He is quite an ambassador. He's also part of the team for Christmas in April, Relay for Life, and the Wine in the Woods Festival. One nominator said, "We often remind Ed that he should go home, eat something, and get a little rest." Another said, "He always shows up with a smile and an eagerness to help that is inspiring and heartwarming. He is a real lifesaver." Please join me in congratulating our 1999 Volunteer of the Year and the person who will represent Howard County at the Governor's Maryland You Are Beautiful Award ceremony on November 3rd, Edward Davis.
I don't know what to say. I'm really choked up for words. This honor doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the people that I help. I mean, the people that I work with. They're really great people, and it's such a wonderful feeling to do volunteer work and be associated with such wonderful people. That's what makes it worthwhile. And it's the people, you can't do enough of them because they're really great. This is the biggest honor I ever received in my life, and it's so great being a volunteer and reaching out and doing things for other people. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And now I'd like to ask the Reverend John Warren to offer the benediction for this evening.
I'm really delighted to be here, and Eddie's a member of our congregation, and he is really a remarkable person, believe me, and your pastor is very, very proud of you, indeed. Let us pray. Go in peace. Remember the poor. Be kindly disposed one to another. The love of God, the blessings of God the Father Almighty be with us all evermore. Amen.
Once again, congratulations to all our nominees. It's been a pleasure to honor you this evening, to share in all of the good feelings that you have created. Now, on behalf of County Executive Jim Roby and the County Council, I'd like to invite you to join together in the lobby for dessert and coffee. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Good night.